Welcome back to Little Alchemist Helper with me, Mr. Andersam. Today, I want to take a deep look at the third boss on Zoo Island, Mr. Buttons, and go over the best way to grind the dust, the card, singular, that you want out of him. Now, to start off, let's take a look at that card itself. Maxed out, he's a 25-18 counterattack card. Not the best boss card in the game, but certainly not the worst one either. The reason I'm assuming that you're going for the boss card, not, anything else, is because he's nowhere near the top of the list for the best coin percent drop or anything like that. I'll link a video up in the iCard up there if you would like to see a video that goes over the best just bosses to grind for dust, and it's another kind of overall comprehensive look. To achieve your goal of getting that boss card, it should take about 300 battles, 295 if you want to be exact, but it's an average, so it doesn't really matter. Somewhere in the rough estimate of 300 battles to get the boss card, and that's using Lucky 3, which makes it even harder to do because that's not a healing ability. Now, if you never waste any energy by letting that cap out or lose any of the battles, that's still 15 and a half days of grinding this guy just to get this one boss card. So it's one of the longer hauls, but again, it's not the longest. He's kind of a middle of the road boss all around. Now I know that never losing is not possible just because of how much health and some of the cards that he has, but using healing powers would actually make you win more often. That being said, the tipping point for how often you have to lose to where it becomes faster using healing is about 1 in 3 losses with the lucky power versus the never losing with the healing power. So pretty much no matter what, if you're ready to grind this boss out for the boss card, you should be able to use Lucky 3 to speed it up without really fearing losing out because you're using the healing powder. But if you want to just use greed so you can keep collecting the maximum coin reward while you do it, I'm not going to fault you there. So let's take a look at the deck that he's actually using and see why you can actually win 100% of the battles. If you watched the series intro to this, I explained that bosses here don't actually make combos out of 2 separate combination cards like we do, but they operate a little bit differently. So that being said, Mr. Buttons, he plays all of his cards at level 5. He has a combo bonus of 2 or 3 and a final form bonus of 4. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch that intro video. It'll be another iCard, or I'll probably leave them all at the end cap of this one as well. The reason that I list 2 different values for both combo and final form bonus is actually a mechanic that the developers added to the game to stop the AI from making gold combination cards or final forms stronger than you're able to make them in the game. So it's weird because, like I said in the intro video, the game doesn't care if they're forcibly weaker or they can make diamond cards with only a silver card bonus versus we are forced to use a gold combination card to get a diamond output. It does actually put a hard stop on letting the bots use overpowered cards, but underpowered cards, just fine. As I put these cards up on the screen a little bit ago, you can pretty easily see that he has access to 5 gold cards and 10 diamond cards. But because he's actually given an option when he selects a card to play, you'll face the stronger diamond cards disproportionately more often than just a 2/3 to 1/3 ratio. From what testing I've done, it seems like you see a gold card almost around the 15% range, like a 1 in 8. But it seems like the longer you let the battle draw out, the more the AI is used or uses the gold card options rather than the diamond ones. But again, there's a large amount of randomness built into this, so it's hard to say. It's somewhere around 15%. So, the full list of cards are a Dire Bear with Crushing Blow, an Electric Eel, an Absorb card, Emok, Curse, a Gummy Bear with Protect, he really likes to play that one, the Koala with Curse, the Mecha Bear, a Crushing Blow card, that's probably one of the scariest to face that you'll see fairly regularly. That's overstating it. You'll see it sometimes. The Panda, the slightly less scary Crushing Blow card, Pokemon, another Absorb card, nothing to worry about there. A very, very infrequently played Werebear, but we'll get into why that's infrequent later. It uses counterattack, and that can screw you up if you're not expecting it. The Zombie Bear, another Absorb card, and then the gold cards, the Friendly Dino with Weaken, the Pterodactyl also has Weaken, Saberchilla, which you'll see more often than any of the other gold combo cards, that has Pierce. I don't seem to have too much trouble when he plays it, so I don't know. And then Shapeshifter and Triceratops coming in last with the Reflect and the Pierce. So let's actually just sort this down to the powers that we really care if he uses. And for me, that's going to be Crushing Blow or the Counter Strike. Here are the 5 cards that fall into that category, put in order by the likelihood that they will be chosen. This means that if you're pressed into a situation where you're forced to gamble on a Counter Strike or a Crushing Blow being used when Mr. Buttons has full orb, you should always assume that that Crushing Blow card is coming. Yes, you'll get burned eventually by the Reflect or the Counter Strike. It stinks, and that's why I said you can't win 100% because eventually you're going to be forced to gamble. And if you're forced to gamble enough times, you'll lose. So, ultimately, if you can hold on to your health, that's always better. But eventually he's also going to play the fire or the elementalist, and he'll burn you. So you get pressed into some interesting situations where you're forced to choose. And since you're forced to bet on one or the other, I would bet that the Crushing Blow card is coming, not the Reflect. The other thing to note is that because the gold cards are played so much less often, you can pretty much just ignore Shapeshifter on this list. In fact, I'm not even 100% convinced that it's even possible for the bot to pick Shapeshifter or Triceratops because of them being ranked last. It's a tie since they have the exact same stats when it comes to getting chosen. In all my playtesting, I've never seen either. So if you're able to get a screenshot or a screen recording of Mr. Buttons playing one of these cards, I'd actually be interested to see it. Okay, let's take this back to a bigger picture look. Here is the full list of cards sorted by play priority, kind of like I did with just those 5 earlier. Now, the play priority, as far as I can tell, is based on the highest attack and defense combined, with the highest individual stat acting as the tiebreaker. So, as you can see, the biggest threats that I just listed don't even come up that often because the game would prefer to pick the stronger Absorb and Curse cards instead of the ones that will actually take you out. The other thing to note is that the majority of the time, the stats on the cards are going to be 4 points lower for both attack and defense. And that's because the AI is usually going to focus on making orbs if it can, or if it needs to. It will pick a final form, a fused final form, if it has the orbs to play them. But if it needs to make orbs, it will focus on that. So I've changed all the cards to be their combo generating form with the lower stats. And here's what that looks like. As you can see, this is a lot more manageable. So if you want to maximize your wins, you really just need to try and stay above a 28 defense. And that's really not that difficult if you have enough gold combo cards and onyx combo cards at your disposal. I know not everyone does, but as far as just stonewalling, 28's not that unachievable of a number, and then you can just kind of hold your ground until you get a good chance to blast him with a good final form and repeat the process if necessary. Going a little bit more depth into that, I do use two separate strategies when I face Mr. Buttons as a lucky 3 wielding enchanter. So the first strategy is if Mr. Buttons chooses to play Elementalist, the red orbs. Um, then I just simply focus on ending the battle as quickly as possible. And that's because with the fire or the Elementalist damage, he can actually take my health down in 3 turns to the point where those crushing blow cards will just one-shot you. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that. But I think that's only actually happened to me maybe 3 or 4 times, and I've got hundreds of battles. I don't have Mr. Buttons yet. Maybe I will by the time I actually post this video, but I don't have him as of the time that I'm recording it. So him playing perfectly is a very, very rare scenario, but it does happen. The other strategy is a lot easier, and it's a lot cleaner, but it only works if Mr. Buttons chooses to pick the enchanter or the healer power for himself. Now, then all you have to do is just stonewall him like I talked about earlier, playing the defense cards that have 28 or more defense, so you never lose health. And then when he plays his cards that eat up his orbs, likely they will be an absorb or a curse card. You can then on the next turn just hit him with your fused final forms, and you should be able to knock him out pretty easily. Now, using these strategies, I usually only lose maybe 1 in 10, somewhere in there matches. I haven't kept exact track. I've mostly just focused on what cards he's playing when I'm keeping notes. But there have been countless examples of he's set up to knock me out, and he chooses to play an absorb or a curse. And it comes down to that priority list. And so it really makes him a lot easier of a boss than just, if we were playing the cards, and strategizing at it ourselves. That's it. That's everything I know about Mr. Buttons. So, like I said, if you can snap a screenshot of the shapeshifter or the Triceratops with Mr. Buttons while you're playing him at the Onyx level, I would love to see it. Or a video, same thing. Screenshots are hard to actually catch when you're playing the game on maximum speed. Trust me, I've tried. Just leave a link to it, or you can send me a link to it on Imgur or post it in the media channel or leave it in a comment, whatever. I am genuinely interested to see if the game can actually do this, and if we work together as a community, it will go a lot faster, or there's just more rounds. I mean, I'm limited to essentially like 9 to 12 battles against him a day, so it does take some time to just gather all of the data. Also, let me know what you thought of this format. I intend on making one of these videos for all of the bosses in the PvE area. I picked Mr. Buttons first, mostly because I'm trying to collect all of the boss cards, and so I was already just playing him repeatedly, which made it easier to get the data that I needed. But going forward, I will continue to listen to the community and pick whoever the community votes for. Now, right now, I think Janice is winning, but I will double check all of the comments, both in this video and in the introduction, and the likes on them to determine who I will cover next. So if you want Janice, just post her name down in the comments below, and that will be the plan for next time. If you want me to change the plan, convince your friends to like your comment with a different boss called out there instead. Like I said, when I get ready to start doing the research for the next one of these, I'll retally the votes and we'll go from there. But thanks for sticking with me to the end of this one, and thanks for just keeping this game alive. I haven't really talked about it, and this is already a longer video, so might as well just go into a spiel about it now. Me and Tapdog are just, we really appreciate that the game kept going even after uh, we kind of just dropped the channel. I did go back and read all of the comments you guys left on the video over the years. I know, I don't know. It's great to be back. It's great that the game has a new owner. It's great that the game's getting attention again, and it's great that you all are coming back or you never left. And if you do, I can't thank you for your dedication enough. That's all. Bye.